Hello everyone and welcome back to Authentic Worth Publishing, bringing worth back into you through storytelling and book writing. Many thanks to my recent and returning subscribers. You are so welcome on this channel. I'm really hoping that you are gaining a lot from our content and we look forward to serving you in the upcoming seasons of your writing journey. Before I begin my topic, I want to first and foremost take this opportunity to thank each and every one of those who attended our 8th book launch last Saturday on the 5th of October. My oh my, 8th book launch. And I really just want to pause there and just clap for Authentic Worth. On behalf of the vision of this business that was birthed in 2019, I want to thank you for standing with us. Running a business is not just about what you can gain, it's about what you can give. And it will always be about servitude. They say that a lot of small businesses who start within their first 3 years fail, but we have doubled that already. And I want to thank you personally from the bottom of my heart for standing with all of us, even the team in the background. You may not always see the team, but they have invested so much in us. Not only the team, but the authors that we have published and the relationships that we've built along the way. Our 8th book launch. And we are going to do one in London 2025 next year. So if you weren't able to come to our first one, there will be so much more celebrations and opportunities for you to get a copy of this book. You can actually get a signed copy by my husband and I via our website, which is authenticworth.com/books. I'm not going to go into so much detail because this video will take too long. But what I can say is value, transparency, selflessness, vulnerability, humor, all in one, and good snacks as well. Everything went so well. And I want to encourage you, for those who haven't yet watched our video about how to prepare for a successful book launch, I will link it in the description bar below for you to watch. It is essential to have a book launch if you have published a book. Don't ever be afraid to share your story. We, my husband and I, wrote this book, and we are so glad that it has reached so many people. Now, moving on, in today's video, I want to talk about how you can envision an idea into a book. And sometimes when we have visions or ideas, they can be so vast. I can start with this book as an example. When I got married last year in November, I knew that I wanted to write a book about marriage, but I thought to myself, I'm still early in. So writing a book about marriage can only be based on what I've experienced from the time I got married until the time I published. But I realized that there were so many people around me who I also can learn from. Some of them were our authors, some of them were friends, some of them were close relatives. And I would observe and see how they were in their marriages. And that's why with our previous book, The Becoming Woman, we held a book series per chapter. And we had a few married couples join us to contribute value to our community. Some have been married for over 10 years, some over 15 years, some over 20 years. And I knew I was in the right place at the right time. And this is the reason why when we had our book launch, we had to have in mind that it's not just choosing people who are married at the early stages, but people who have been married for longer. Because when the community receives that value, they can also be well equipped and prepared for what comes their way. Now, the idea for this book is to remind people that there is power in purposeful matrimony. And it's about being intentional about your marriage. It's about investing in one another. Not when the going gets tough, you give up, you quit, but staying in the game, being consistent, being persistent. Because we know that challenges come to everyone. No one is exempt. But even in those challenges, there's always so much that you can learn and take away from them. So when you think about that idea, whether that's an idea that you've had to write a book about your personal struggles, or the vision that you had to run a business, but you don't know where to start, or the opportunity of collaborating with other authors and writers to bring about the idea into a book, it is very possible to do so. Sometimes we have to remember that what we go through isn't for us alone. When I think about my whole writing journey from my first book, It's Time to Heal in 2016, till this 8th book, The Cost of Intentional Marriage, every book has been unique and is unique. The writing journey, the process, the style, the communication, and all these have stemmed from ideas. One of our recent authors asked, "How do you write? What inspires you?" And the answer I gave was, it's in accordance to the season that I'm in. So depending on your own season, you could be in a season of healing and forgiveness. And you can talk about your personal journey of how you overcame anger and started to embrace forgiveness and peace of mind. And that is a topic that should never be underestimated. You could have been someone that takes things so harshly. You could be someone that gets offended easily. But gradually over time, you can see your life changing and unfolding, and people can see that too. That is a vision that you can have to hold on to and share your journey with others. We're living in a generation where all we want to know is, what's in it for me? I want to read books that will make me rich. I want to read books that will make me wealthy. I want to read books that are all about money, money, money. And please don't get me wrong, we need money, but we also need peace. We also need visions to think about how we can serve other people in the community, because it will be so lonely being so rich and having no one to share it with. It will be so lonely being so successful and nobody wants to be around you, because it can happen. Unless you have twisted your heart and you said, all I want to do is just be by myself, I don't want to communicate with anyone, that's a really dangerous life to live and even have. Because we are created for relationships. We are created for compatibility. And even those ideas of relationships and compatibility can be turned into a book. Someone recently commented on our video about the books that she has written, and it's all to do with people. It's all to do with relationships. And how many of us now can say that we are investing in our relationships? I recently recorded a video about the power of collaborations and building relationships in the author community. Whether that's attending networking events, whether that's joining online memberships, whether that's attending online seminars and workshops. How many of us are being intentional about joining these opportunities? Not just for what you can gain, but what also you can give. When you come with a perspective of, all I want to do is sell my books, it's going to be so obvious. Most of the ways that Envisions turn into great ideas is when you ask about someone else. And this is some of the reasons why we are still here. And they are not secrets. They are open to everyone to receive. That in order to sustain your book, your business, your life, serve people. What is it that they are looking to solve? What are their pain points? What idea do you have that can serve your community? Do you know what your current audience right now is going through? Are you taking the time to nurture and build relationships offline with them? Or are you just coming online to let people know what you do and you're off? And we don't hear from you in the next couple of months. Consistency is the key. But the vision you have for your idea is birthed when you are head down and you are focused. And you ask yourself, if I was the external, if I was on the opposite side, what would I want to gain from this book? So right now, if you're in a season where you're thinking to yourself, I want to learn how to be a better friend, or a better wife, or a better husband, or a better mother, or a better father, what are you doing right now that is preparing you? What books are you reading? Because there are so many great books out there that can help you on your journey. It's all about how you interact with people. And it doesn't have to be difficult. In the authoring industry, it never should be difficult to make friends with other authors, as long as you are open. However, I'm not saying that every author that you meet will be in alignment with the book that you have written. And if that's the case, it's okay to move away in respect. But I know that there are some books out there that will help me on my journey in order for me to help my authors. And I don't want to take that for granted. as long as you position yourself in the right place at the right time. And this is why I cannot encourage you enough to have book launches. Not just one book launch, but several, multiple. It's only been recently that our latest two books, The Becoming Woman and The Cost of Intentional Marriage, we've been doing more book series for them. Throughout the previous years, we've had book launches, we've had interviews, and they've been great. But now we're taking it up to another level because we know that consistency is what will keep people going. Having different people join us to contribute their value, to share their story, to share their experience, can also give the listener ideas. When I join events, whether it's in person or online, I get excited because I want to learn. I'm still learning on this business journey, on this entrepreneurial journey. And it is great because if you stop learning, you stop living. And one thing I will never stop doing is asking questions. Believe me, I can ask so many questions that are relevant, of course. But these questions help us to grow. These questions give us the opportunity to think about our ideas and ask ourselves, how can this book help this person? What can I do to get this book in the hands of those who I don't yet know? And that's a big one right now that a lot of self-published authors are wondering how. But don't worry about the how. As long as you start writing and you start sharing bits and pieces of your work, even if it's in the bullet points, it helps. You would never know that even a video like this can encourage someone to write a book. Whether you are on YouTube, whether you are doing podcasts, whether you've got audiobooks, hardback books, paperback books, ebooks, as long as you've got something to show forth, you've got the tangible evidence. Why wouldn't people believe that they too can envision themselves to have an idea and write a book? When I started my writing journey, I never foresaw myself becoming an author, let alone a multi-published author. And when I hear people congratulate the journey that we've been on for 8 years, it is never to be taken for granted or overlooked. We are so proud of every author that has published with us, let alone myself, that has published 8 books. And this is the reason why I do stand on this, that people want to work with those who can see tangible evidence. They don't want to work with people who say they can do X, Y, Z, and there's nothing to show for. And I really encourage you to be wise and discerning as you prepare your ideas. Share those ideas with people who actually have books. Share those ideas with your author friends. Share those ideas in community groups. Don't be afraid, because you don't know their impact in your life and the journey they can have in your life as you share what you've learned. The same way I never know how my journey can help someone else, knowingly and unknowingly. Even if I never meet them, I could speak to someone online or even via email and they are inspired by what we do, because all they want to do is to get their book out there, and that is the aim. Not only to get your book out there, but for people to read it and be encouraged and transformed. Don't think that the book that you wrote 2 years ago is going to stay on Amazon. You don't know how many people are watching you right now, and you don't know who will need your book in the future. You will be so surprised. A book that has been written 10 years ago, thinking that it has no value, think again. Every story has value. Things that happened in the past can still be of impact today. So when you have that idea, make sure that you take the time to brainstorm. What idea do you have? How can it serve my community? If I was the reader, how would I want my own story to inspire me? And one thing I do often and from time to time is to go back on my previous books and read and just study them. And I say to myself, I can't believe that everything that I went through, every idea, every envision, every encounter is in the form of a book. And this is why I encourage you, if you are listening to this video and you've got a book or you're thinking of writing a book makes you an expert in that field. Not only that, it saves you time from explaining yourself, because if you were to speak all the time about who you are, it will be very lengthy. But if people want to know who you really are, let them buy your book, let them read your story, and they will start seeing different elements to you. So you won't have to keep on speaking. Your book is speaking on your behalf. This is your idea turned into a natural, tangible book. Whether it is an ebook, whether it's a paperback book, whether it's an audio book, whether it's even a podcast. There are many ways that you can share your story now. Nothing is hidden. So what is stopping you from having that vision, that idea to let your book speak for itself? You have to encourage yourself daily that this is a journey. It's not a sprint, it's not a race. You have to take your time when it comes to that vision, because the vision has to be so big that it has to be bigger than you. And it has to serve something that is of substance, something that can be used again and again and again. And I want this to be your book, not a book that you've just written and you leave it because your audience isn't supporting you. Maybe you have focused on the wrong audience. Maybe you don't really know how to put yourself out there, or you're trying to make everyone accept you. Remember, not everyone is going to accept it, and that's okay. But you can be true to yourself and find your voice and serve those people in your life that need you, because you will be so surprised that people probably need you more than you know, if only you start with that vision and idea turned into a tangible book. So without further ado, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm really hoping that has encouraged you, and I want you to take action now. Write in the comment sections below, what steps are you going to take to get your vision and idea into a book? I look forward to reading the comments, and I want you to be intentional about it. Just as me and my husband was intentional about publishing our 8th book, The Cost of Intentional Marriage, we want you to be intentional about your book writing journey, and we want it to make an impact. If you've got any other topics that you would like us to discuss, as always, leave them in the comment section below and we will get back to you. Thank you so much for watching our video. Until next time, we'll see you in the upcoming one. Take care and all the best with your writing journey. Bye-bye.